Please be seated. "40 days since the beginning of Lent." Has it only been 40 days? 40 months, maybe? 40 years? 40 decades? Centuries? I'm not sure, because Lent, like all liturgical seasons, is calculated using God's math and not ours. So let's just say that it's been a long time. It's been a long time of desert wandering, of temptations and false starts, wrong turns and missteps. 40 days, months, since we smeared ashes on our heads and looked into the empty darkness of what we presumed was our own tomb. 40 days, years of being spooked by our own shadows, tormented and snake-bit by them, being dared to dance them into the light, and then again this past week, all of those shadows converged and were lifted up into the light for all to see. Everything that we try so hard to cover up, suppress, keep hidden, the denials, the betrayals, the mocking, the abuse, the running away, the falling asleep. Holy Week puts all of that, the full spectrum of our humanity, on display for all to see. From the jubilant hubris of Palm Sunday to the intimate, tender, loving care of the Last Supper on Thursday, the helpless horror of the execution on Friday, the depths of despair and grief, and now, again today, an empty tomb. What are we supposed to do with all of this? The Passion narrative is more than just the story of Jesus' last week. It is the story of who we most truly are as humans. It shows us at our most generous and spirit-filled best, a woman pouring an extravagant gift of ointment on Jesus' head, other women witnessing his agony and then returning in the dark to lovingly tend his desecrated body. It shows us at our best. It also shows us at our absolute worst. Confused, devious, betraying, denying, fleeing, mocking, abusive, all of our humanity, all of our shadows are on display, coalesced into a single body and nailed to a cross and lifted high for all the world to see. The cross is an icon of our faith. Yes, it is an icon of God's all-embracing love. And it is also an icon of the absolute worst things that we perpetually inflict upon one another. Crucifixion, lynching, smallpox-laden blankets, gas chambers, all of those things that we wish were not true about us, but they are. And the Passion reveals all of it. Our full humanity, feasting with each other and abandoning each other, caring for and protecting each other, mocking and abusing each other, crying out to God, abandoning God. It is the story of who we most fully and truly are. It is also the story of who God most fully and truly is, and how God remains ever faithful, endlessly compassionate, endearing and enduring, constantly breaking through the walls that we build and try to hide behind. Walls of fear, walls of grief, walls of righteousness. God is forever reaching out to us in love, guiding us in deserts, sheltering us in the deluge. Psalm 139 really nails it. Where can I go from your spirit? If I soar to the heavens, you are there. If I bed down in Sheol, the land of the dead, there you are. If I take wing with the dawn, if I dwell at the ends of the sea, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where we go or where we find ourselves. God is always already there. Never stops coming to us. Never stops reaching out to us. Never stops loving us. Even at our worst. Even when we try to nail that love to a piece of wood. 40 days, 40 years, 40 centuries, every time we run this experiment, every single iteration of Holy Week always ends up with the same result. That tomb is always empty. And not just because it happened that way once a long, long time ago. It happens because it happens every time that we try to run away from God. It happens every time we seek to claim ultimate power for ourselves. Every time we try to have everything our own way, we end up destroying something precious and beautiful. But the love of God, the God of infinite possibilities, always triumphs in utterly surprising ways. So here we are again, having made another Lenten journey, having gazed once more into the mirror of Holy Week, having been reminded once more of who we really are and who God really is, and seeing more clearly both what we are capable of and what God is capable of. So the only question is, what now? What do we do this time? Do we flee in terror and amazement and try to go back to the way things were, play out the same tragedy over and over and over again? Or are we going to let the unescapable reality of this eternally empty tomb sink into our souls, deep enough to take root, deep enough to begin to nourish us and strengthen us and our commitment to living in ways that resist all of the posturing, all of the possessiveness, all of the certainty, to strengthen us to live in ways that boldly calls out and exposes all of the mocking and the denials. In other words, are we going to follow Jesus and work together with God and with one another to nurture and to strengthen our capacities for compassion and joy, kindness, curiosity, community, humility, accountability. What now? We know what Mary the Magdalene and Mary the mother of James and Salome did. They did what the angel instructed. They went and told the rest. They followed Jesus. And now it's up to us. May we have the courage to be as bold as those women and do the same. Amen.